Hello and welcome to the United Stand. This is our Saturday Night Live show, and there is a double injury blow for Manchester United, which just absolutely irritates me to the limit because it was totally avoidable on both. And who's to say, we're only halfway through this international break, we may well pick more up on what are, for our key players, totally and utterly irrelevant games. But poor international managers. I mean, it's a big thing, international football. It's a big topic point, and every year we get frustrated by how it pops up and stunts the growth of what we're trying to achieve as a club. And on top of that, I think what you do get in international football is just an absolute swimming pool full of poor managers who just don't know what they're doing, and they want their moments in the spotlight, so they don't put the players first. We'll also be talking about Manchester United talks with Dybala in the summer. This has come out today. We'll be talking about that as well, and a few other things. But let's stick with the injury news first of all. For those of you who aren't aware, Marouane Fellaini and Romelu Lukaku both carrying injuries from Manchester United's game last week. Lukaku nearly missed the game against Palace, in fact, but he played, and Fellaini was expected to miss that game because he'd missed the Wednesday against Moscow with a knock himself. So both went into this international break with injuries, with knocks. Both didn't really train with Belgium on Monday, as we reported earlier in the week. Lukaku's not played for Belgium tonight against Bosnia. Fellaini did play and went off after 28 minutes with a knee injury. Now this is different to the injury he picked up. For those who can remember, I think it was it away to Southampton where he picked up a knock on his ankle. This is a left knee injury after 28 minutes. Now, for those people who don't know anything about injuries, you can pick up other injuries when you're carrying an injury yourself. It's called a second injury. I suspect that Fellaini, if he's gone off after 28 minutes in a game, I think he'll be struggling now to play for Manchester United in a week's time. And I think it's just a totally avoidable situation from Roberto Martinez. Yes, you might remember the name Roberto Martinez, failed idiot manager from Everton. Just another Southgate or Deschamps at France. Poor managers given limelight and will not put the benefits of the player or the club ahead of their nasty, useless, waste of time international breaks. And I'm very angry about it. I might not be Fellaini's biggest fan, but the reality is we don't have Paul Pogba at the moment. And going into that Liverpool game, we needed to play a midfield three. And that midfield three, because we are a little bit lightweight, needed to be Herrera, Fellaini and Matic. If Fellaini is out of that game now, it really drastically changes our plans, because it means you've got to play Carrick in there, or McTominay, even worse. Totally avoidable. And also, on top of it all, Belgium have already bloody qualified for the World Cup. So why are you playing people with knocks like Fellaini? It is a bloody joke, and it winds me right up. The international break in itself winds me up. I think it's a waste of time, a total waste of time. I tried to watch England the other night on the watch along on That's Football, and for those who joined me, I found it bloody frustrating. It's a non-entity. International football should be kept to the summer. Whether it's qualifiers, the major tournaments, fine. I like the major tournaments, but they should be kept to the summer and avoid the real business of football that people are really interested in and they pay their money to watch, which is Premier League and Champions League, European football, Championship football, whatever. We're not interested in international football, especially not in England. It is a waste of time. Sit down, get lost. And I'm very angry about it because these managers, they're in international football because they're not good enough to be a day-to-day manager in the Premier League or elsewhere. So they're in international football. They get these windows of like publicity where they're the manager of some country, and then they go and do stupid things like that, like playing somebody who's clearly got a knock in a meaningless game. In relation to Lukaku, Kirsten Johnson saying, what about Lukaku? The situation with Lukaku is this. Lukaku has a knock. Lukaku didn't play for Belgium, and Lukaku is receiving treatment in Belgium. But Martinez has already hinted he might play Lukaku against Cyprus on Tuesday. So, look, these players, like Phil Jones, forced his way out of the England squad to get back to Manchester to recuperate for the Liverpool game. Lukaku and Fellaini should have been both back in Manchester at the start of this week, and we've lost Fellaini now. I mean, one thing I would say about Fellaini is he does have this ability to not be out for injury too long. And I think he's one of those players that, he knows he's onto a good thing at the moment. He's had a very down 4 years at Manchester United. It's not been that great. Recently, he's been doing really well. I don't think he will. I think he will move heaven and earth, to be honest, to try and not be a long-term injury, because it's the best time he's ever had. He's turned the fans round. He's doing very well for Mourinho. He won't want to lose his place. So I think Fellaini will move heaven and earth to play against Liverpool. But if it's a knee injury, it's a knee injury, and a knee injury could be it could be worst case scenario of a year. It could be a month. It could just be a twisted knee. But when you go off after 28 minutes, and he was trying to run it off, and he just actually sat down with it, that is a concern in relation to Marouane Fellaini. And I'm just very angry. Very angry. Charles Asante says, can't Fellaini decide if he is injured not to play, Mark? Yes. Yes. Widham7 says Fellaini's brainwashing the fans anyway. Water is wet and Fellaini is crap. A little bit harsh, but regardless of what you think about Fellaini, we do need him at the moment in the absence of Pogba, because I do think a midfield three against Liverpool is really important. And that, I think, if Lukaku misses Liverpool, it's a big deal. But I think we can get away with Lukaku more than we can Fellaini, because we need to play a midfield three, in my opinion. If we play Mkhitaryan with Herrera and Matic, we'll get beat. We need midfielders. We need three midfielders. Talking of which, if Lukaku was to miss the FNA, oh, thanks for that. I have seen that. We'll still be doing hours. Don't worry. In relation to Manchester United's game against Liverpool next week, and if Lukaku did miss it, then I would be looking to play Marcus Rashford in there. But yet again, the problem with playing Marcus Rashford in there is he's playing for England tomorrow against Lithuania, and England have already qualified. So why is he going to... What if Rashford picks up an injury tomorrow? Because that would be typical of Southgate as well. I mean, Rashford doesn't need to play tomorrow, but I bet he will do. Away in Lithuania, dodgy pitch, quite a rough opposition. I don't like the international break. I don't like the international break at all. There's too many of them. We have 3 of them before the middle of November. The season never really gets going, does it? I mean, I'm annoyed that we have this international break anyway, because I think Liverpool, after that draw at Newcastle last weekend, would have been prime meat to play them this weekend and really get at them. But the international break, it means by the time we get all our players back, it's Thursday. They've not played together. They're a little bit rusty. You go away from home. Liverpool are up for it. And, it will stunt our growth. And then we've picked up a couple of injuries as well. I'm just so bloody frustrated by it. I mean, it was a good point by whoever said it there. If Fellaini's carrying a knock, maybe he should have pulled himself out of the Belgium squad, and maybe Lukaku should as well. But I suppose Belgium are a very tight-knit group. They've got a very good team, and maybe they like being part of the international setup as players. You can't knock them for that. But from a Manchester United point of view, I can't move away from the fact that Phil Jones, Fellaini and Lukaku went into this international break carrying significant knocks. Jones has got himself back to Manchester straight away. Lukaku and Fellaini have stayed with the Belgium squad, and Fellaini's gone and knackered his knee tonight. So I blame Martinez, but maybe that person's right. Maybe Fellaini needs to take some responsibility as well. He is in the best period of his Manchester United career, which isn't hard considering how bad he's been, but he is in the best part of his career at Manchester United. He's just scored 2 goals. He's very important. We've got our toughest game of the season to come, and you go and get yourself injured in a game that really doesn't matter because Belgium have already qualified. I'm sure Mourinho won't be angry with Fellaini because he loves him, but maybe that is an angle. But to be honest, Martinez is a clown, and I'm very, very, very frustrated with it. Mac Attack 1986 says, I hate the international break. Even the tournaments are boring. I like the World Cup and the Euros because it's in the summer when there's no other football, so it's interesting. But during a proper season with Premier League football and Champions League football, it bores the tits off me. It is a waste of time, and it actually doesn't do anything for your club form, because we were doing really well. Now we pick up injuries where we've not even played, and we potentially lose that flow that we've been doing really, really well. We'll come back to that, and we'll come back to some of your comments. I just also want to talk about... Lukaku would be a huge loss as Liverpool are vulnerable to set pieces, and Ramiz Abis says, Raj, yeah, they are vulnerable to set pieces. We've potentially lost Fellaini, who's well over 6 foot. We've lost Pogba, who's well over 6 foot. If we lose Lukaku, that's another threat. I mean, we are losing our aerial threat against Liverpool, and I did say last Sunday that as much as I don't really like Fellaini and Matic playing together, because I like Herrera and Matic better, I would have played a Fellaini, Herrera, Matic midfield 3 against Liverpool, because... you've got to play Fellaini against Liverpool because one, he's in form at the moment and it would be unfair to drop him, and two, his height is going to destroy Liverpool. Then they are terrible off the high ball, so it is a big loss. It is a big loss, and I'm very, very angry about it. Let's talk about the Dybala news. Dybala, obviously Juventus, Argentina player. Look, laugh at Argentina, they might not be going to the World Cup. In fact, I'd be very surprised if they do make the World Cup now. But Dybala, Argentinian at Juventus. Manchester United held talks with him in the summer. He actually changed his agent to his brother, who is based in Barcelona, and there's been a big indication that Dybala will go to Barcelona from Juventus at some point. But Minirola and George Mendes. George Mendes is Mourinho's agent. He tried to get Dybala as his client to get him a move to Real Madrid, but Minirola was very aggressive about it. I mean, aggressive in the way he was doing the dealings, because he wanted to get Dybala under his spell as his agent so he could get him a move to Manchester United, and that happened this summer. But he chose his brother. He chose his brother, and his brother is based in Barcelona. So Dybala to United. I think Dybala behind Lukaku instead of Mkhitaryan is obviously a massive step forward. Do I think we'll ever see Dybala in a Manchester United shirt? I don't really. I think the best chance we probably had would have been if Raiola had become his agent, because Raiola does business with Manchester United. I don't see Dybala coming to United. I think our Dybala will be Antoine Griezmann, and I really do believe that will happen at some point. But it's interesting. I remember us discussing it a little bit in the summer about that, and you know, very, very, very good player. Aguero's adapted to the Premier League fine, so there's no reason why Dybala wouldn't. Tevez did as well, so yeah. Fred Owosu has made a very good comment. He says, wonderful show. Wanted to know if this can force Pogba to start against Liverpool since he was seen training. Well, that is something I did want to discuss. Is there a chance that Pogba could get back against Liverpool? I've always felt that there is, because Mourinho's lied at his last press conference when he said Phil Jones wouldn't play, and he did play the next day against Crystal Palace. So I've always felt that Pogba's sort of secrecy around his injury meant that he would be back for the Liverpool game. I'd say I'm probably 80-20, that 80% sure that he won't play and 20% of me thinks maybe he will. It's worth keeping an eye on Pogba and where he is and what he's doing, because he's in Miami. We're a week away from the game. If he's still in Miami tomorrow, then he isn't playing against Liverpool, because he needs to get back, acclimatise and train with the team. And if he's still in America tomorrow, which, you know, pretty much tonight, then we ain't got much chance. But Ian Tensworth says, why are they missing the game? Just joined. So Lukaku is not necessarily out. He is carrying a knock. He's not trained with Belgium all week. Belgium have a game on Tuesday. Belgium have already qualified, so he shouldn't be playing in that. He should be back in Manchester preparing himself for the Liverpool game. So there's a good chance Lukaku will play, dependent on the actual injury he has, which we believe is a knock to his ankle. But Fellaini did have a knock to the ankle. He has trained with Belgium this week. He's played tonight, and he's gone off after 28 minutes. Having tried to run off an injury, he then just sat down. They took him off after 28 minutes, which is never a good sign. Left knee injury. So if that is anything, cartilage or anything like that, that could be Fellaini out for a long time. It could just be a twisted knee, in which case maybe a couple of weeks. I think if it's nothing serious, I mean, it sounds obvious, but if it's nothing serious, Fellaini's the sort of player who will get himself back next week, regardless of whether he's carrying a knock or not, because he's that sort of bloke, which is to be commended. But if it's proper knee, that's bye-bye Fellaini. Fellaini, get it? No, I'm not even in the mood to joke myself. It's totally and utterly unavoidable, and it just dropped into my head as well, because I have said this a few times, and you lot have said it as well, and I'm sure some of you are thinking it as well. When we were talking about signings in the summer, I remember when we were having those discussions, and I said that I actually would like us to sign another centre midfielder. When we were linked to people like Renato Sanchez, I was actually quite positive about that, because the situation that's developed now is the one that many of us foresaw. That, you know, Pogba gets injured, Fellaini gets injured, you've got Herrera, Matic, Carrick, not anymore, McTominay, I don't think ever. So we are very slim on the ground in the centre midfield area. Yeah, you can play Mata there, you can play Mkhitaryan there, but they're not break up the play midfielders. They're attacking midfielders, and I think that is a problem for United. That I think we needed more in the midfield area. And now a couple of injuries to Fellaini and Pogba, and they could be long term. Let's not forget the Pogba injury could be long term. He might not be back till like November. And if Fellaini's done his knee, how long's a piece of string? He might not be back before Christmas. So that leaves us very, very thin on the ground when you've got to play 2 games a week. You know, Herrera and Matic can't play as a midfield 2 twice a week. It's a lot of running. Most teams play a midfield 3. So what we're going to do? Who's going to play with Herrera and Matic? Yeah, Carrick can do it maybe once a week. Are we seriously going to play McTominay in there? Somebody mentioned Axel Twansibi. That would be a good shout, to be fair. I wouldn't mind seeing him come into the team. But the thing is that people think I hate Fellaini, and I don't. If I had the choice to sell him, I would do, but I'd replace him. But in a situation we're in now, where he's been playing very well, we've got Liverpool away next week, and now he's out, I'm very, very angry about it. And it's not hypocritical to say that, and people can say, well, you don't like Fellaini, whatever. That's total nonsense. We're talking about the season's up and running. He is part of the squad. He's an important part of the squad, and the injury was 100% totally and utterly avoidable, and it's international football biting us on the backside yet again. And let's not forget, as I said a few minutes ago, we are only a few minutes... we're not really even halfway through this international break yet, and everyone's playing twice, and it's only Saturday. So there's a whole raft of games yet, and how many of our players are on international duty still? Rashford's still on duty, De Gea, Valencia. There's a lot of our players, Mkhitaryan, still on international duty that could pick up more injuries, and I just think it's totally and utterly avoidable and very, very, very frustrating. And Kerr J says it's worrying about Fellaini. Oh look, I'm 50-50 on Fellaini. I think there's a 50% chance it might not be that bad and he will play next week. But I'm 50% thinking if he's gone off after 28 minutes because he can't carry on because of his knee, that makes me worry, because I've had knee injuries in the past, and you know, you can run around with a damaged ankle and that, and then the next day you're just going to swell up. But when you're not able to run around because your knee's hurting, that is, you might be lucky, you might have twisted it and have no damage, but if you're not able to run around, it tends to be sort of ligament damage, and that is a worry. That is a worry. He's not very injury prone. That goes, you know, some people would say that's a bad thing. They might have said last year, but right now we don't want him to. Roberto Martinez is saying that they fear it is ligament damage, says Addy. I'll tell you what, I should be a bloody... No, you're as good as me. You know football like I know football over the years. And when a player goes down after 28 minutes, it's funny that somebody's just said what I was saying a few seconds ago, because I haven't seen anything. But I am worried about Fellaini. I really am, and I think that the fact that Martinez has said it. I mean, I'm just going to have a quick look now. Fellaini injury. Oh yeah, you're right. You're right. Roberto Martinez quote says, "We are all worried about Fellaini. We fear that there's ligament damage." 2 seasons ago, Fellaini's injury wouldn't be a problem, but now it's a huge problem. Somebody on Twitter has actually said, "Excellent news. Let's hope Fellaini's injury is long term too." It's just, you know what, that is football, isn't it? In an absolute bubble. You know, I'll hold my hand up and say, Fellaini getting an injury over the last 3 years, I'd never celebrate any player getting an injury, but it wouldn't have been a problem, and I think it would have made us a better team without Fellaini. But you know, the one time where he actually is doing well, and he actually would, I think he would. I said it last Sunday on the show. He would have been a major asset against Liverpool because he's so hard to deal with. We just have to hope. But as I said, 28 minutes into the game, you try and run it off and you can't, and you sit down. That to me, when it's your knee, that's not good news. And if it's ligament damage, bye bye. We might not see him till after Christmas. Which means Mourinho likes him, so that means we'll give him a sympathy contract, which is Manchester United should never do that. Let's not forget, Fellaini's contract is up in the summer. He can go for free, and we were trying to get him to sign a new contract. If he's done his knee and he's out for 6 months, and we give him a sympathy contract, I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that. He could have signed the contract that was on the table before, but that's irrelevant. What I'm thinking is that I mean, I don't think we can get Fosu Mensah or Pereira back till January. So it's a big kick in the teeth. It's a big kick in the teeth. Really is. But we'll have to deal without it. I mean, look, I personally think Matic and Herrera as a midfield two work really well and we'll be fine. But against Liverpool, I don't think we could play a midfield two. I think we needed to play a midfield three. Could Carrick do it in that sort of game? I remember Carrick playing against Liverpool in January at Old Trafford and they well and truly figured him out. So we'll have to see. MLJ says, well, how come you never talk about the January transfer window? We could still sign a youngster. Well, the January transfer window is a bit irrelevant at the moment. Playlist account says if he's out for 6 months, he needs to be sold. Mohamed Youssef says we need 3 midfielders against Liverpool. I totally agree with you, Mark. Matic, Herrera and Blind, not a bad shout. I do think Daley Blind in the midfield is a myth that we'll never see it happen again. Herrera's here, the game time. He was looking forward to go out there and show Mourinho why the fans love him. Look, that is a positive. I want Herrera to play more. I didn't want him to be playing because Fellaini got injured. I wanted him to force his way into the team because he's a better player. But Love Anana says, what would your formation be? Well, we're going to do previews in the week next week. But at the top of my head at this moment, as it stands, I think against Liverpool, I would be whatever back four, Bailly, Jones, Young and Valencia, De Gea in goal. Up front, I think I would go Lukaku, Rashford on the left and maybe Lingard on the right just to give us a bit of pace. Use Martial as an impact sub because he's never going to play the dream of Lukaku, Rashford and Martial. And then I would play a midfield three. And if there's no Fellaini and there's no Pogba, it's definitely Herrera and Matic. And to be honest, a couple of people have said it. I would not play McTominay. I think he would absolutely sink in an environment like that. I don't think he's ready at all. I don't think Carrick can do it. I would probably put Twansibi in there. Look, we trusted Twansibi against Spurs and Arsenal away last year. I reckon we can do it against Liverpool away. So I'd go Twansibi, Herrera and Matic. I don't know what you lot think. Is Lukaku okay, says Ebbs Tricks. Look, the latest on Lukaku is he's not trained all week with Belgium. He's got a knock. He had the same knock on the Friday before the Palace game and we played him. He's still got that knock. He's not played for Belgium tonight. He could play for Belgium in a meaningless game against Cyprus on Tuesday. I personally think Lukaku needs to be just kept out of that Belgium squad and, you know, just recuperate for the Liverpool game because we can't afford to lose anybody else. Gregor Mayhew says that Kante is injured for Chelsea. You know, this is the international break. You know, it's not just about United. It's a total waste of time. It's a real waste of time. Does Liverpool have any injured players, says Anma? I bet they don't. Lindelof could play in a centre midfield three, says JME. He doesn't look ready for that to me. Pereira really messed up, says Johnny the Pencil Slayer. What a comment. What a comment. He did. And you know, I was very angry that Pereira was allowed to go to Valencia, but Mourinho a few weeks ago came out and said he wanted him to stay and Pereira wanted to go. And, you know, look at the situation now. Samuel R says McTominay annoys me for some reason. He's not good enough. I don't think he's good enough, McTominay. I'd love to be proved wrong. I don't think he's good enough. What about playing Mkhitaryan as a CAM? Well, we've been playing him there, Tobias, for a long time. I don't think you can have the luxury of a Mkhitaryan against Liverpool, but Mourinho might be forced to do that. He might just play the midfield two of Matic and Herrera and have Mkhitaryan ahead. Jones in midfield, says Misha. You know, that's not a bad shout either. Phil Jones could play midfield and you could play Smalling. That is a very good shout. Very well done, Misha Shishkov. That is a bloody good shout. You could put Phil Jones into the midfield with Matic and Herrera and play Smalling and Bailly. Yeah, we could do that. So we've got options. The miss, look, you know, people are going, oh, you don't like Fellaini. Look, I can't hide about that. I don't like him as a footballer. I don't like that style of footballer. But I did say on Sunday night that against Liverpool, it's all about having different tools. And I think Fellaini's best position for United is on the bench because he's an option off the bench. But against Liverpool, because the form he's been in, I would have played him because you've got to play that midfield three. But also, when we get set pieces and everything like that, it would have been an absolute nightmare for them. And we lose that threat now. And my frustration is that, look, Fellaini should have been forced out of the United team because we've got better players. He shouldn't be forced out of the team with knee ligament damage in a game he shouldn't have even been bloody playing in because he had a knock anyway and it was totally meaningless for Belgium. He shouldn't have been playing. And it's not the first time that Roberto Martinez has done it. He did it with Eden Hazard in the last international break. He's an ego thief. He's an ego thief, Martinez. He was a joke at Everton. He acts like he knows what he's on about. And he's done it again at Belgium. He's an absolute joke. Theon says that Twansibi is a future world player. He's the real deal. I agree. Ian Tendwar says, let's just park the bus like we did last year. I don't think we should park the bus against Liverpool. I think that's to be a massive mistake. I think it would be showing them way too much respect. We've got to get the men behind the ball when they've got the ball because they love space. But when we get the ball, we need to have attacking options, which is why I would love to see Martial start, Rashford start and Lukaku start because I think we can hurt them on the break. So I wouldn't be parking the bus. And let's not forget, last year we had Zlatan and we had no pace up front. Do you think Martial will be good in a CAM position? You and Gordon? No, not really. Angel Gomez is at a World Cup and there's no way he's going to play. Rahub's got a knee ligament injury right now. With Chrisia Prince has got some breaking news that Fellaini limped off injured today. Where have you been for the last 20 minutes? And why put Jones in midfield when we have Blind, who was... Oh, God. The Daley Blind in centre midfield myth continues. Look, Daley Blind is not a good centre midfielder, right? He's very left-footed and he's very slow. And on the right-hand side, he's abysmal. When you're playing in the midfield, you can't just play the left side. You've got to play the right side as well. Van Gaal bought Blind because he was in love with Blind's dad. Now, he played him a few games in the midfield. He actually scored a good goal against West Brom away. But even Van Gaal got rid of that exercise or selection very early in his disastrous career at Manchester United. Daley Blind is not a midfielder and we've got better options. I'd much rather see Twansibi, to be honest. I agree with Gungshi. I think Liverpool are there for the taking, which is why I don't want us to get any more injuries because I think they are there for the taking. We've just got to be on it. Rodney's on. Hi, Rodney. Hope you're well, pal. Amol says Liverpool's defence is there for the taking, go for the counter-attack. Well, I said in the week, I think if Liverpool are going to beat us, if we park the bus, this is redundant, what I'm about to say. But if we go into this game like we have every other game this season, Liverpool are going to need to score 3 times to beat us because I think we will score at least twice against their defence. So, but if we park the bus, we won't score once. It's how Mourinho goes at this. And, you know, Mourinho's a top tactician. I think he needs to be tight in the midfield and at the back, and he needs quick players in the front 3 positions to hurt them on the break. Yeah, Fellaini did score in that goal, that game that Blind scored as well. Fionn, you're right. 2-2. It's not possible for us to get Fosu Mensah back as far as I know, DJ and FIFA. Chuck as your questions, it's sort of merging into a Saturday night Q&A now. Matthew McFadden says, hi everyone. Do you think we could secure a loan deal for Harry Kane? No. I know you're joking. I don't know what I'm going to do tonight actually. I've got I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to watch a film, but I'm trying to think of what film to watch. I've got a few lined up. Let us know what you're going to do. Tutty says who is injured. Looks like Fellaini's got knee ligament damage picked up for Belgium today. Never should have been playing. It's a shame Andres Pereira isn't an option for us, says Widham7. That's his own fault. Marsh says confirmed that Lukaku is injured. Well, Lukaku is injured. It's just not expected to be that bad. He's sort of recuperating in Belgium. I'm not going to play the journey on FIFA. On That's Football, Cal Davies. Why don't we recall Mensah, says Mark Sia, because I don't think we can. AJ now says, will there be a FIFA? I don't think I'm going to do FIFA tonight, to be honest. United will win 2-0. Fellaini will score, says someone's mistake. Look, there's a chance Fellaini could play next week. It's not sounding good when the manager of Belgium says it looks like it's ligament damage. I mean, I think that's curtains. I think Fellaini's out of the Liverpool game and a few more, unfortunately. For a manager, if this just turns out to be a minor injury from Fellaini, then Martinez has just shown what an absolute amateur he is again. But the reality is, when a manager comes out and says we think it's a serious injury, then it tends to be a serious injury because there's no reason for him to come out and scare most of the Manchester United support. Carrick will play, says Anthony. Deal with it. I like Carrick, but I just don't think he's up for that sort of game anymore. As I said a few minutes ago, we played Liverpool in January with Carrick, and they absolutely swamped him. Mark, the defender depth needs to be bigger, otherwise injuries will ruin the squad and will turn to a shambles. We've got a massive October coming up. We've got Liverpool away, Huddersfield away, Spurs at home and Chelsea away. And if we need Pogba back. I don't think we can go through this without Pogba. We need Pogba back as soon as possible. We might be able to get something against Liverpool with what we've got, but we need Pogba back for Spurs and Chelsea. We desperately do. We can't just keep losing players like we are at the moment, especially not in the midfield. When it's Champions League for Manchester United, says Luis Briana. So we play Liverpool on Saturday and then we're playing Benfica away, I think, on the Tuesday or the Wednesday after. The games are thick and fast. We've got 2 a week because we've got the League Cup as well against Swansea the following week. When are you making the gaming channel, Mark, says JME? I don't know at the moment. I'm going to do Call of Duty stuff, so it will be probably in the next few weeks. Well, Dan Butterworth makes a good point. We don't even know if Carrick's fit. Carrick's injured as well. Let's not forget that. I mean, this is going back to what I was on about a few minutes ago. We spoke about it in the summer when we were on about transfers, and I said it, and a lot of you said it. I think we're light in the midfield if we pick up injuries. And Carrick's injured, Pogba's injured, Fellaini's injured, so we've got Matic and we've got Herrera and we've got Scott McTominay. Woohoo! You know, Carrick may be back for the Liverpool game, but he was injured. Having played against Burton, you know, his first game of the season, really. Fellaini and Lukaku, big misses. Our Belgian hero, says Indy United 99. It's forcing us to play a midfield too. I agree with that. Hi, Richie Rich. Twansibi is overrated, says Ankit. I don't think he is. I think he's a good player. And what was the point in Lukaku or Fellaini when Belgium had already qualified? Dan Lee, take a pat on the back. Totally agree with you. Why were they part of that squad? It made absolutely no sense. Samuel R says we need at least 12 points from those 12 we've got, or else we won't be competing with Man City. You're right. So Liverpool, Huddersfield away, Spurs at home, Chelsea away before the next international break. So we've got them 4 games, and I think we do need 10 from 12 because Man City have got a very easy October. I expect City will take 12 from 12. So if they do that and we take 10 from 12, we'll still lose 2 points on them. If we're level with City at the next international break, we'll probably win the league because this is a really tough run of games for us, and City have got a really easy run. So it'd be very, very hard for us to keep ground with them, but we can do it. We can do it. Carrick's injured, Dami Ibrahim, so people need to remember that as well. And play a 3-5-2, says Mr. Tom Watt. Yeah, we might look. Mourinho is a genius, and maybe I've said let's play 4-3-3 against Liverpool. How many times have we played a 4-3-3 this season? Not very often. We've done the 4-2-3-1, or we've played the 3-5-2. So if you played the 3-5-2, you'd have your 3 centre-backs. You'd have Valencia and Young as your width. You'd have Herrera and Matic. And then you would have probably Mkhitaryan and 2 up front in Lukaku and Rashford. To be honest with you, I think that's how I would go now. I would never have done it with Fellaini because I don't think Fellaini and Matic as a midfield 2 is a good idea. But I would go 3-5-2 against Liverpool. And I think actually, yeah, that's probably what we will do. So you'd have De Gea in goal, Smalling, Jones and Bailly, Valencia on the left, on the right, Ashley on the left, Matic and Herrera as the 2, Mkhitaryan ahead of them, and then I would probably play Martial and Lukaku, to be fair, but I think that would cause Liverpool problems because you'd have 2 up front. Don't forget to hit a like on the video, please. 400 likes would be nice while we're live. That'd be great. There's plenty of you watching. Indy United 99, spot on. Jose knows what he's doing. He's a serial winner. He's not a serial winner for nothing. Dazzy says it feels like years since I watched the Premier League game. It'll only be another week, mate, and it'll fly by. What's the injury blow? Says I saw S11. So Fellaini's got knee ligament damage, we believe, but it's not looking good. So he will be out for a long time. And Lukaku is carrying an injury. We're not screwed, Fortune YouTube. We're not screwed. We're Manchester United, and we've got the players. And Again, spoke about it in the summer. I was a bit frustrated that Mourinho didn't get the players that he wanted. I think he wanted another 2 and he didn't get them. And injuries are always going to happen. You're never going to have a full squad to pick from. And at the moment, we have got a number of injuries. Lingard is the other solution, says Sean. What, as a midfielder? No. Mark, what's going on with Luke Shaw? He's fit and he can't even get on the bench, says Williams. I think they're just working him back in, to be honest. I don't see Luke Shaw being involved against Liverpool, but you never know. I think we should put Mata in CAM for his amazing first touch and Mickey in the right midfield. Jeff says, let's get 1,000 likes for the video. I'll tell you what, I'll eat my slippers if we get 1,000 likes while we're live. Do you think Jose's 2 midfielders short? Yes, Abhishek, I do. I really do. Gaz Newton says Pep is bold. He is. Mark, what's the difference between Liverpool and a teabag? The teabag stays in the cup longer. And how long is Lukaku out for, D King? I just want to clarify about Lukaku. He is currently injured, but he's not out of the Liverpool game. Fellaini's looking like he is, but Lukaku is sort of recuperating in Belgium. The risk with Lukaku is that Martinez has said he might play him against Cyprus on Tuesday. And if he's carrying a knock, that is exactly what's happened with Fellaini. He's carried a knock and he's been played and he's done his knee. I don't want Lukaku playing against Cyprus, and I think Mourinho needs to be and will be on the phone saying, look, you've knackered one of my players who had a knock, get the other one back now. But he's powerless in a way. But yeah, I mean, that's the other thing. Mourinho will be furious with Belgium. Fellaini did have a knock. He couldn't train on Monday. He's played tonight and he's gone off after 28 minutes with what appears to be ligament damage in a game that they didn't need him for because they'd already qualified. He didn't need to play the game, and now he's potentially lost a player for months. If it's knee ligament damage, he's going to have an operation. He won't be back before Christmas. Charlie says, should we park the bus against Liverpool? No. I don't know what you lot think, but no. Curry says, let's get 1,000 likes. I want to see Mark eating his slippers. You'll have to. Well, there's 1,000 of you watching. If you hit the like button, you would do it, but you're about 700 short. So my slippers are safe, but I will do it. Sometime I think this international break should be abolished, says MJ Jab. I would abolish it. I would abolish it totally, and I'd finish the season a month early because there are 4 international breaks that make us lose 4 weekends every season. If you got rid of those, you could finish the season at the start of May, and then May could be international qualifiers where you play Saturday, Wednesday. You do 7 or 8 qualifiers, and then you have the tournament in June. Look, I don't. International football is. I know it matters to some people, and worldwide fans probably don't get it because you could be from Brazil or another country where you really like international football. But in England, it is just an inconvenience because we're an awful team run by an awful association, and it's ultimately very, very frustrating. Very, very frustrating. Samuel says we should have gotten Kessie in. Frank Kessie obviously went from Atalanta to AC Milan. Yeah, we should have done. We should have got somebody else in. We should have done. Vignesh says, what are your thoughts on the proposed updates on the international breaks? Wasn't they going to do... Oh, this is another one as well. I heard about it last year. I forgot about this. If anyone in the comments can just give me a little bit of clarity on it. They're going to do another tournament, aren't they? Like an international tournament in the international breaks. It's just a joke. And the reality is it's so easy to qualify from the international breaks, from the international qualifiers now, because they let nearly everybody into the World Cup anyway. So they're a total waste of time. JME says Martial's fresh, not part of the international break, as is Mata, as is Herrera. Yeah, that reminds me, we might have a fantastic bit of video for you next week. Just keep watching. If you are new to the United Stand, make sure you click the subscribe icon in the bottom right hand corner. We seem to have stagnated a little bit recently, around 140,000, 130. It just seems to be stuck between 130 and 140. So if you are new, make sure you click that subscribe button. And that just reminds me, if you are subscribed, make sure you are subscribed because loads of people have been unsubscribed. Yet again, YouTube's playing up. So you might think you are subscribed to the United Stand, but just check, click the icon or the subscribe button and make sure that you are still subscribed. And then the second part is we're still getting a lot of people saying they're not getting notifications. If you aren't getting your notifications, what you need to do is, one, make sure you are subscribed, because a lot of people have been unsubscribed and you won't get notifications then. Two, if you are subscribed, click the bell and then tick get all notifications, and you will get notifications. And for those people who don't know what notifications are, it basically means when we do a video, you will get a ping to say that we're doing a video, especially because we're a live content channel. That's important to a lot of people because they want to know when we go live. Most of the time it's 8 o'clock every night, but sometimes there will be some news that we will just go live, and that's where you want to get your notifications really. So make sure you have subscribed, make sure you click the bell, and make sure you tick all notifications and save it, and then you should get them. Epandula says we're going to get slaughtered next week. I don't think so. Anything can happen in football, but I'm not concerned. And back to the people who said, should we park the bus against Liverpool? No. There's a way to play against Liverpool next week, and I'm sure Mourinho will do us proud. But effectively, if you park the bus against Liverpool, we are showing them way too much respect. They don't deserve us to park the bus. They're not good enough. Last season, we needed to park the bus. We were struggling, and we needed to get a point, and Liverpool were firing. They're not that team this year. We're better. What we need to do is what everybody does, because Klopp's got a good plan A, but if you defeat the plan A, he's got no plan B. And the plan A is, don't give them any space in the final third, don't get caught on the break, use pace on the break and get at their defence. And we can do that. We've got all the players to do that. We've got the players to be tight in the defence in the midfield, and then we've got the players to hit them on the break if he picks the right team. Jeff wants me to be eating my slippers. I told you wouldn't get 1,000 likes. Anyone watching X Factor? Strictly's better, just for the outfits. Can we ask Paul Scholes to come back again? Says Shaya. I'd rather he played than McTominay. I'd love to see us win at Anfield as well. I think it would be a real boost. I don't know when Rojo is going to be back, Misha. And Liverpool won't do anything. All they've got is offence, and without good defence, is completely useless. I'd agree. Moccasins, I've got my slippers are, Cal Davies. Anyway, thanks everybody for watching tonight. It's been a really good show. We've had lots of people watching. Just to let you know what we've got coming up. We've got Sunday Night Live tomorrow night at 8 o'clock. Flex will be on with me. He did the fan cams at Old Trafford at the Palace game, and he will be doing them at Anfield a week today. We'll have them up. We'll know the result. So 8 o'clock tomorrow night with the Sunday night show. Red Rumours will be back on Monday at 1 o'clock for people who don't know what that is. Skype Goldbridge will be Monday night at 8 o'clock, where you lot get to call in. And then from Tuesday, we will be building up towards the Liverpool game, which is really exciting. Can't wait for that. But yeah, make sure you've subscribed if you're new. Make sure you've clicked the bell and you've got your notifications on. This international break, I think once you get through the weekend, or that first week, we've broken the back of it. So enjoy the rest of your weekend, and then we'll be building up towards Liverpool. But we'll be back with you tomorrow night at 8 o'clock. Lots of things lined up to discuss on that. Bad news. It's bad news about Fellaini if it's a ligament injury, because he is part of the squad. And as I always said, I think off the bench he's a great option. At the moment, he's more than that to Mourinho. He's a first-team player, so Mourinho is going to be very, very angry. But it is a loss to us, no matter what you think. He is an effective option in this squad that isn't particularly big in the midfield. So very disappointing. It's just another indication of why the international break is so very frustrating. Some people are saying hopefully Liverpool will pick up an injury, but I'm not really like that. It is what it is. Thanks everyone for watching. Thanks for everyone who's dropped a like on the video. Thanks for everybody who's subscribed, because we've had a few new subscribers. And yeah, make sure that you are still subscribed, by the way. And we'll see what happens tomorrow. Thanks for watching. I'm off. I think I'm going to go and watch Dirty Dancing. No, probably not. I'm going to go and watch an old classic, actually. I remember I liked it as a kid. Executive Decision with Kurt Russell in. And Steven Seagal's in it, and I remember watching it at the time, and he's like dead in the first 10 minutes, and he was at the peak of his career. Seagal, a really weird sort of cameo in that film. Talking of which, Alien, the latest Alien film with James Franco, that was surprising as well. I've said too much. Anyway, enjoy the rest of your Saturday night. I'm off to go and watch a film, and you know, let's see. Let's see. Thanks everyone for watching.